Hi, everyone. It's Alan Thornton here, President and CEO of St. John's Community Services, and here for another episode of Advocates for All. And I am really excited because my special guest today is Eileen Lynn, who is the Director of Strategic Partnerships for VoteAmerica. And if you can't tell by the hat she's wearing, she's pretty passionate about this subject. So Eileen, welcome to Advocates for All. Thank you for taking the time to join me today.
Thank you for having me.
So we're 1 week out. And we're also weeks into early voting. And as you and I were chatting beforehand, I think there's a general consensus that this election is one of the most important elections ever. Tell me, why are you all on board with Vote America? What does Vote America do? And what's your philosophy and how do you make things happen in getting out the vote?
Absolutely. As you know, our country, even though being one of the longest democracies in the world, our turnout rate has been one of the lowest in some of the developed countries, and there's a reason for that. And a lot of times, things like, for example, there are other countries that host election days on a weekend or making it a holiday or having automatic registration. Those are the things that really encourage people to turn out. However, we don't have luxury for that. And therefore, Vote America is designed to create this ability to help people register to vote, to request mail-in ballots, and with research, provide research and trusted election information to ensure that everyone, and doesn't matter whether you are a person with disability or any sort of anything about you, you are able to vote. And so, for example, our voteamerica.com, our website is designed in a way that's very user-friendly, making it very easy. Doesn't matter what state you're in. It's available for 50 states plus DC to simply register to vote, as well as this year we came out with a very innovative technology that helps voters turn in their mail-in ballot registration. So by using your phone, it can help turn it into a fax machine and fax it into your local election offices. And so everything we do is really designed to help enhance sort of this equitable access to voting. And we also run a lot of programs to remind people to vote. Actually, about a little bit more than 30% of people don't know when election day is back in 2016. So having the ability to remind people, whether it's through texting, through email, or through like sort of social media, through partners, we are able to inform people some of the ID requirements in your in your specific states, when your early voting periods are, really what is your right to vote. Yeah, so that's what we do.
You can even track down kind of where your station is, right? Where your polling station is, if you
Absolutely. Yeah, we especially this year with the increased volume of mail-in ballots, we created this locator that actually help you find out your nearest ballot drop boxes are, including polling locations for early voting and election day.
And I think like this is really important on a lot of fronts. You have people that are voting for the first time. Like as an example, I've got a 19-year-old son who will be voting in New York, and he's voting for the first time. So not only does he have to educate himself about kind of the issues, but then he's got to go through the process of understanding, how do I vote? Like, what does that look like? So you have new voters. You've got people that are at risk, especially in this time of the virus. And so you want to mitigate and limit their risk, at the same time make sure that they have their voice heard. And we serve a lot of folks like that, whether it's people that are elderly or people with disabilities. They may not have the ability go out on election day and stand in a line for hours on end just because of their physical limitations or challenges, right? And so Vote America plays such an important role in helping people understand you have options. Like you have a lot of ways that you can vote, and here's what you need to know and how you can do it. And we love the idea so much. We partnered with you, and we not just linked to your website, but we put a special part on our website so that people, our employees, their families, they'd have an opportunity to be able to learn from Vote America and find out what they need to know to be able to vote, whether it's early or whether it's the day of, whether whether they're mailing in or doing early voting in person, whatever that looks like. So, and we've helped people get registered. We've helped people track down their registrations and make sure that they were. I mean, so it's been an exciting thing to see. What do you feel like? So it's a week out. You guys have to be just going really like, just all out right now, just given the importance of this election. How are you, like, what does that look like? What does your team look like in the midst of a virus? I mean, you're probably mostly remote. And so the technology behind all of this is really important, right?
Absolutely. And I think a couple of things that we're specifically touching on this year is really educating people to vote by mail, given COVID safety. We really, in the early days, really pushed sort of the education awareness part of voting by mail, and shifting that now to early voting, making sure that people don't have to wait in line for a very long time, because we know that about 20% of our polling places in this nation will be closed on election day. And that's equivalent of about 21,000 polling places. And a lot of times they this, it's done on purpose for voter suppression reasons, especially in Black and Brown communities. So we also vamp up our effort around doing outreach work to BIPOC communities, making sure that those who are traditionally targets of voter suppression, we can help them make a plan to vote. And that can include like things, for example, like helping them to request a mail-in ballot, or help them understand the specific rules of their state, because every state is very different. And for those, for example, miss their registration deadline, certain states provide same-day registration or election day registration. For example, this is available in DC and Maryland, but not in Virginia or New York. And so every state is very different. And we actually created a Vote America text helpline. So basically you can text helpline to 48298, and we will have a group of people to help you navigate your challenges to voting. So it can be things like, there's something wrong with my ballot. I was informed. What can I do to fix my ballot? That's something that we can help walk you through. Or my polling place closed down this year. Where is my, polling place? We can direct you to our locator tool to find out where exactly that is. So I think we've been placed these, phase approach, and as we get closer to election day, billboards also is something that we are working on to make sure that people know when their early voting period is and when election day is. On top of that, we also have emphasis on getting young people out to vote. As you know, a lot of young people tend to be low propensity voters, or what we call high potential voters. And a lot of times is because they go out of state for school, but they can't figure out whether they vote in the state where they go to school with, or their home state. There are states like New Hampshire that requires you to have an in-state license in order to vote. And so there's just all kinds of obstacles that are put in place on purpose to suppress voters. And so we're really reaching out to campuses and really trying to get people information, through influencers, That's how young people get information these days, and really making sure that they know exactly what their rights are, and how to vote in this election.
What are you seeing in terms of engagement? Like, are you seeing like an increased level of engagement where people are absolutely wanting to know more about to make sure that they have a plan? Like never before have I, remembered an election where you heard even the phrase "have a plan" on how you're going to vote. But I think because of the political turmoil and climate that we're in, I think because of certainly the virus and the pandemic playing a huge role in that, it's so important to have a plan. Are you seeing like more people than you anticipated reaching out and asking for help and getting that information?
Yes, definitely. We are seeing record high turnout rate for early voting across the nation, even including Texas. Texas used to be one of the lowest turnout state in the country, but now with the early voting record, they're on the leaderboard. We are also seeing just in Atlanta, in Georgia, for example, more African Americans are turning out to vote in early voting during early voting period. So we're really seeing lots of new positive turnout, um, you know, record that we're seeing right now. So definitely, we're seeing more young activists, young people that wanting to make sure their voice is heard. And so this is definitely a positive sign to witness, as we know that this election is so important.
So important, and it's generally important to make sure that your voice is heard. And you and I were kind of sharing with each other before. We both are naturalized citizens. And so there's an element of that we understand going through a period of our lives when we didn't have the right to vote, and now being a naturalized citizen having the right to vote. And it's something to be cherished and something to be exercised. It is your right and it is your voice, and it's just absolutely so important. So we are thrilled to be partnering with you. We're thrilled at the work that you're doing, because when we think about advocacy and advocating for all, Vote America is truly doing that. You are advocating for those that may be marginalized in our communities, discriminated against in our communities, and you're trying to give an opportunity for them to have their voice heard and exercise their right. That ties in so well with our mission, that we just saw this partnership as a wonderful fit. And we're wishing you nothing but success as you come down to the wire in the last week and are probably not getting a lot of sleep. Are you all doing anything special around the actual election night? Like, are you doing anything that you want to talk about relative to, I think you have some sort of event, a watch party of some kind that's going on.
Yes.
How can people learn more or feel like they're part of Vote America the closer they get to election night?
Absolutely. We are. So as we get close to the election day, we want to make sure that if you're voting by mail, make sure that you mail your ballot in today. Today, will give USPS exactly a week to deliver your ballot. And a lot of states have tracking systems, so you can go online to see if your ballot has arrived safely, and also whether or not they're counted. And if you're voting in person, make sure that you are voting early as you can. You can go to voteamerica.com/vote to find out where your early voting location is at. If you've already voted, please tell your friends and your family to vote. Alan, I know your wife is going today, so I'm really excited to hear that. And if you have any question about voting in general, again, you can text helpline to 48298. Once again, it's 48298. You will be able to get a one-on-one assistance on solving your problem. And again, on election day, it's coming in a week, and we have a watch party where our founder and CEO Deborah Cleaver will be providing political analysis around sort of the turnout in this, based on what we've seen so far, and sort of doing a comparative analysis from things that she's learned from the past. And we're super excited to invite some of our value partner to be part of the watch party. And so stay tuned. I'll be able to share more information around that.
That's awesome. And everyone, I voted already. I've got my sticker to prove it here in Alexandria, and it was really well set up. I have nothing but gratitude for the volunteers that are working now and will be working through Election Day. Thank you for your service. And Eileen, thank you so much for all that you're doing with Vote America. For those that we serve, and on behalf of the people that we support, I just want to say thank you for helping us help them have their voice heard and exercise their rights. So it's been a pleasure to talk to you, and get some rest post-election day, but hang in there. Your work is so very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alan.